I literally laid there on the ground and said, God, why are you doing this? Why are you challenging me? I'm racing. You're not gonna stop me. Hey there, I'm Dan Martell, serial entrepreneur, investor, creator of SaaS Academy. In this episode, I want to share with you how to overcome physical setbacks. I'm talking about like punched in the gut kind of scenarios where it doesn't matter if it's like injuries, COVID, sickness, whatever it is. Like there might be something that happens to you and you just like physically feel down. I want to share with you some mindset and some beliefs that are going to help you overcome them that I learned from my experience. And I know you guys may be new to my journey, but I try to share my life out loud. I shine my light as bright as possible because I just feel like, hey, if I'm learning these lessons, I just want to share my journey. And about a year and a half ago, I made the decision to move to the other side of Canada. So I grew up on East Coast Canada, a place called New Brunswick, and I moved to British Columbia into the mountains in this beautiful city called Kelowna. And at the time I was training for an Ironman. And the challenge is that, you know, one of my favorite parts about training for triathlon is working out with my friends. And here I was in a new city, moved away from all my training partners, and I had to continue training to try to keep up to the volume required to actually be successful doing this Ironman distance races. And it was tough. It was really hard to find that rhythm and whatnot. And early in my training season, I think in May, I went mountain biking with some friends, and I'm kind of new to mountain biking, and I think sometimes my skill is a little too, I'm a little too confident for the level I'm at, and I'm aggressive. And I was doing this run. It was like off Trail Forks. It was like a hidden local run in this place called Kamloops, called Rio. I forget. It was just called Rio. And I come around the turn. I hit this jump. I go in the air, and I didn't realize, but the jump actually turned right, and I went straight, and I ended up punching a tree with my hand, breaking my knuckles, landing sideways, rolling down a ravine, breaking my shoulder, and just laying there thinking to myself, like, what did I just do? Like my hand went numb, my shoulder was in pain. I had to like grab my bike, pull myself out of this ravine, scream at my friends that were down the mountain a little bit, try to ride out another 10 kilometers with a broken hand. And I didn't know it at the time. And the whole time I'm just thinking like, oh my gosh, like I just screwed up my race season, you know? And I didn't even want to tell anybody for hours. I didn't call my wife. I just, you know, they were like, how's your shoulder? I'm like, I don't know. And how's the hand? And even my buddy Jason's like, hey dude, I don't know if it's broken or dislocated. He was a paramedic, so I was like listening to him, and he's like, but if I pull on it, it might fix it. But if it's broken, it's gonna hurt like a mofo. And I was like, I just put my hand out and I said, pull. And he grabbed it and he pulled, and my whole hand went like, almost like it got like blown up by a bomb. And I was just like, ah! And he's like, oh, well, it's not dislocated. You probably gotta go to the hospital. So that night I went to the hospital at like 7 o'clock at night, spent the whole night in the hospital. I woke up the next morning and I was in a depression. Like, here I am, bandaged up, you know, tore out my shoulder, broke my hand. You know, I can't sleep. I'm super uncomfortable. I got full road rash. And like for the first 3 hours of that morning, I was like, I don't know, I was in a funk. Like I normally don't wake up like that. I'm a very happy, go get it kind of guy. And I was mad at myself for getting into that headspace. And I just thought, okay, I got to take massive action. This is something I learned a long time ago. I got to do something. So I got up, I got dressed, and I went and I hiked a mountain locally called Mount Knox, okay? Like pretty serious hike. Takes about an hour to go up and down. And my wife's like, shouldn't you be resting? Shouldn't you relax? And I'm like, I just can't. I can't sit here and do that. So I started working with a physio person. I had essentially 9 weeks before my race, and I kept at it. And it was looking promising. And it'd be great if that was the story, but it wasn't. A month and a bit later, I'm at the marina, and I went and got some food for the family. I was coming back to my boat, And as I went through the marina door, the steel door shut on my heel and sliced the back of my heel open. And I just remember running down to the boat. I like jumped inside the boat and I just like laid on the bed and I was like, Peanut. My wife's name's Peanut's my name. I said, I cut my heel open. I think it's bleeding. And she was like, oh my God, what did you do? And I was like, what, is it bad? She's like, yeah, it's bad. And it's like, I don't want to make anybody throw up, but so she somehow got the blood, you know, to kind of like stop bleeding. And I went to the hospital and I'm laying there and I'm like, I cannot believe I just did this. Like I did all this work on rehab and I have a chance to even race. And luckily the doctor was my friend's wife, Jose, and she's a triathlete. And I said, Jose, I need your help. She's like, what? I said, I got a race. She goes, how far is the race? I said, in a couple weeks. She's like, oh my gosh. So she like put these stitches and like this skin, new skin, all this stuff. And she's like, it may not hold, but at least get you through the race. And I was like, thank you, right? Like crisis avoided. But I was just like, at that point I was starting to, you know, people were saying to me like, shouldn't you slow down? Isn't this life telling you like all these things? And I was like, no, this is just what happens when you live life. Like I want to go on my boat. I want to mountain bike. I want to do stuff. I'm not going to sit around and, you know, live life in a bubble and do nothing. That was the stories I was telling myself. And then fast forward a couple weeks after that, I'm training and I'm in aero position coming down fairly busy street, probably shouldn't have been doing this. And a car without turning their blinkers on cuts off the bike lane. I'm in the bike lane, cuts me off and I hit the side of it. Luckily they're at a 45-degree angle. I hit the side of it in aero position and go flying like Superman over the car. And when I land, I did this tuck and roll and you'll see the video. I'm gonna splice it in. You'll see what happened, okay? And luckily I just got the rotation done where I didn't even hit my head. I didn't even hit my shoulder. And I almost could have stood up. Like I was really close to stand up. This is years of snowboarding accidents, okay? And all I thought to myself as I laid there, and there was like this guy that ran over, was like, don't move, I called the ambulance. And I'm sitting there checking over my body. I'm like, I'm fine. He's like, you're in shock. And I'm like, dude, back away, right? The only thing I was thinking about is that my bike is crashed, okay? Like anybody that does triathlons, these are not bikes you pick up at a Canadian Tire or at a Home Depot. Like these are bikes that are made of carbon and they're very expensive and they're very unique and their size and specific to me. And I'm just thinking my race is in a couple weeks and I don't have my bike anymore. So when you talk about setbacks, physically, pain, we make decisions. We make decisions about the story that tells us and how we respond. And I'll tell you, my mental fortitude was being challenged in that moment. I literally laid there on the ground and said, God, why are you doing this? Why are you challenging me? I'm racing. You're not going to stop me. I don't know why you're making me go through this, but I made a decision to race for bigger reasons that's more important than me. So like, can you please give me a break? Because this was like crash, rehab, sliced heel, not even fixed, but like can do it. And then you took my bike away from me. Over a 2-week period, I had to find another bike, okay? And luckily I found a used bike in another province and through a bunch of relationships and asking for favors, we got the bike taken apart, put in a box, blah, blah, blah. And maybe had 2 trainings on it prior to this race for a full Ironman distance race. And the morning of, I just sat there staring at the water because it goes swim, bike, run, thinking the amount of challenges that came up to just get to this point to start the race. I was just grateful. I was like, I'm at least at the starting line. I am going to start this. I know it's gonna be a sufferfest. It's not gonna be easy, but I'm gonna do it. And I'm gonna skip to the end because it was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life physically and mentally, hands down. And I got the Ironman done through all the challenges in 12 hours, 12 minutes, and 43 seconds. And I broke down at the finish line. Like, family was there, like just emotional wreck with my buddies that I've been training years to do this full distance Ironman. And when I looked back, there was a bunch of lessons learned, things that I took from those moments, stories that I started telling myself, because there was so many people saying different things. Like the first thing I want to share with all of you guys is everybody would say to me, maybe you should slow down. Maybe the world's trying to tell you something. Maybe you should take it easy. And I think a lot of people out there would have said, you know what, maybe you're right. And they would have. They would have literally said like, okay, maybe I should calm down. Maybe I don't need to be mountain biking and training for an Ironman at the same time, blah, blah, blah. Maybe I should pick one. And I just kept saying, no, that's not true. I'm not slowing down. I would actually like get in my head and go, no, what more can I do? What's possible? Do I really feel like I'm at the limit of my possibilities? No. And I think if you ask yourself the same question, you'll find your answer. You know, when the world says, people say, oh, maybe you should slow down because, you just got sick, you got the flu, and you go, I haven't been really working that hard. You know, maybe I'm not working like serious enough. Maybe I'm half-assing this. Maybe I'm being an amateur when I should be a pro. You know. So my question to you is it that you should slow down, or maybe you should be a little bit more serious and intentional and attack your goals and dreams a little bit ferociously with more intensity? That's where I was coming from. I was like, you know what? No, I don't. When I audit my life and I look at where I'm at, I don't need to slow down. Maybe I need to push more. Maybe I have more capacity. Maybe this is just some weird way of challenging my intent and desire and saying like, do you really want this? Like, is this something that you're kind of interested in, or are you committed? That's my question to you. Are you interested in your goals and your dreams, or are you committed to their outcome? So I would reframe that. And that's what I was doing. That's the first thing. The second one is I'd look at the facts, not the feelings. People, and look, I love my family. They were worried about me. They wanted me to do the right thing. They wanted me to be safe. I get it. But I look at the facts. Like for example, when I crashed on my road bike and I got cut off and I got in a biking accident, my biking coach a long time prior to that, 2 years prior, said to me, the reality of it is that with a road bike, if you're training on the road, it's not if you crash, it's when you will crash. It's just part of the numbers. It's a fact. It's the data. So do I look at that as a sign that I should stop? No, I look at it as like, hey, that's normal. That's a normal thing that happens. And where I went to was, how did I contribute to that outcome? Which is crazy talk for a lot of people. Some of you guys get in an accident or something bad happens and you go, it's that person's fault. I can't believe this person did this to me. I can't believe this happened to me. I get cut off and not my fault at all. Person doesn't set their blinker, doesn't see me, cuts off a bike lane, and I immediately go to, what did I do to contribute to this? Did I need to be going 30 some kilometers an hour in a major city on a bike lane? Did I need to be driving a narrow position? Could I have, like there's so many things. Did I have a front flashing white light on my bike? The answer was no. Do I have one today? Yes. I looked at what the lessons were for me to learn and I moved forward using facts, not feeling. And that is my question to you. When you've looked at things that have happened, your failed business, a failed hire, a failed customer experience or whatever, if the customer fires you, whatever, is it fact that you suck, or is it fact that you're not good? Is it fact that you're a bad entrepreneur, or did you have a moment? And did you ask yourself, how did I contribute to that? What are the lessons I need to learn? Internalize those, get them, then move forward with that new perspective. And then finally, it's filter the feedback. Look, I love my family, I love my friends. But when it comes to internalizing suggestions, feedback, okay, you should slow down. Maybe the world's trying to tell you something, etc. I went to my coach, I went to my mentors, I went to the doctors. I love my friends and my family, but their opinion is not an expert opinion. I went to the doctor. Can I do this race? The answer was, if you do these things, yes. I went to my coach. Is it possible for me to rehab and to do the volume I need to set my fitness level at a certain level to be able to come back? Yes. Are these things abnormal or normal? Normal. Okay, is there anything I can learn from this? Yes, X, Y, and Z. Perfect. Let's incorporate it into the training. Let's change the way we move forward. But I had to filter that feedback so that I wasn't inadvertently telling myself stories that just aren't true. Like, we're meaning makers. As a human, we define the meaning that we associate to experiences, to events, to moments in our life. And we can either choose to make that moment like a powerful, empowering, and supportive thing. That's the meaning we give it. Or we could use it as a way to like bring us small and shrivel us down and pull back our desires and play a small game. I choose expansive. I choose big. I choose to use these moments as the foundation to build from, right? And use that as the reason, the meaning to move forward with more ferociousness, with more drive, with more certainty, with more courageousness. And that's what I want from all of you. There's this great quote. I don't know who said it, because a lot of quotes, it's like, was it Einstein? Was it Michael Jordan? I don't know. But it doesn't get easier, you get better. Okay? It doesn't get easier. Life will not get easier. If you want more from life, it will get harder. But what will change? My experience has been from physically having my body attack, and it didn't stop. It happened again this year, injuries. Like, if you want to play life to the fullest, right? And not end up at the end totally protected and feeling safe in a cocoon, but totally, like instead what I want to do is just like slide into the end and just feel like super weathered and be like, oh my gosh, what a crazy ride, right? When my time comes, I'm going to be like, whoo, that was amazing. That was crazy. I cannot believe I fit all that in and got to do all these things and experience life to the fullest. That's the way I'm gonna finish things, right? And what I've discovered is that if I want that, if I want to live this life and be extraordinary, because you can't be ordinary if you want extraordinary results. If I want to be extraordinary, is that I need to get better, because life will not get easier on me. I will get better on how I approach it, attack it, and solve problems. And that's what I want for all of you. So that's what I hope this message lands in your soul and your heart, okay? Is that instead of telling yourself a negative story around the meaning of what things happen, you decide to choose positive and push forward. Because my belief is you got way more in you, way more. I know it in my soul. I don't even need to know you to say that. You have more capacity than you're giving yourself permission to express. And if this message is resonating with you, that is your calling in your heart to do more, to be more, to not dim your light, to shine it as bright as freaking possible. And with that, I hope this message finds you incredibly well. And I want to challenge you, as per usual, to live a bigger life and a bigger business. And I'll see you next Monday.